you are super excited as much as I am for this next book of Frog and Toad. We are going to have a lot of fun with this, and I hope that you are going to enjoy it as much as I do, and as much as we did our first book, Frog and Toad Are Friends, because that was just super fun, and these characters are just, they're funny, they're silly, and it's just great books to get into. So I hope that you enjoy this book that we are about to start reading today. So if you will go ahead and pull out your book, Days with Frog and Toad. We're going to start that today, and I'm so excited, and we're going to be jumping right into that. So, before we get started, let me give you a little bit of background. We already know about Frog, Mr. Frog here, and Toad, and they are all so much fun. So I'm going to put them up here so they can read with us today and work with us as we're working with Frog and Toad. But let me give you a little bit of background about Days with Frog and Toad. So, this is a fictional story, which means that it is not true. It's fiction, which means it's fake. It's for fun. They are the characters, Frog and Toad. They're in this story, you're going to see the settings and a plot. The characters are the people or the animals in the story. And the setting is where and when the story happens or takes place. Finally, the plot is what happens in the story. So as the story's going on, you can find the plot. The plot starts with a problem the main character is facing. And the story builds in excitement until the story's problem is solved, just like we saw in the first book. As you read Days with Frog and Toad, think about the parts of the story, and on the next page we're going to write about those parts. So, as we're reading the first chapter, be thinking about the same questions we did in the first book about the character setting, problem, and solution, because we're going to fill that out also when we are finished, okay? So, get your books out, and let's get ready to roll, all right? We are on Days with Frog and Toad. And this book does have the table of contents like our other one. Alright, and on the table of contents that'll tell you what you're going to be reading about. So each chapter and then the pages that you're going to be able to find it on. Okay? So today I am going to read to you and introduce to you the first chapter. But you know, just like with our last book, that I want you to make sure that you're reading this afterwards or even beforehand. That's fine too if you've already read it ahead of time. It's good to reread chapters and books. That way we get good practice. Okay? So, I don't know about you, but I'm super excited and I'm ready to start. So, let's do this. Alright. The first chapter is called, what's this? Tomorrow. Very good. So, let's learn and let's read about tomorrow. Toad, wake up! Drat, he said. This house is a mess. I have so much work to do. Frog looked through the window. Toad, you are right, said Frog. It is a mess. Toad pulled the covers over his head. I'll do it tomorrow, said Toad. Today I will take life easy. Oh, you should have your book. And again, you are following along with me as I read it. So go ahead and get your fingers ready, or your eyes ready. Here we go. Frog came into the house. Toad, said Frog, your pants and jacket are lying on the floor. Tomorrow, said Toad from under the covers. Your kitchen sink is filled with dirty dishes, said Frog. Tomorrow, said Toad. There's dust on your chairs. Tomorrow, said Toad. Your windows need scrubbing, said Frog, and your plants need watering. Tomorrow, cried Toad. I will do it all tomorrow. Toad sat on the edge of his bed. Blah, said Toad. I feel down in the dumps. Why? Asked Frog. I'm thinking about tomorrow already, said Toad. And I'm thinking about all the things that I will have to do. Yep, said Frog. Tomorrow will be a very hard day for you. Is he right? Probably sounds like he's got a lot of work to do. But Frog, said Toad, if I pick up my pants and jacket right now, then I will not have to pick them up tomorrow, will I? Well, no, said Frog. You will not have to. Toad picked up his clothes and he put them in his closet. Frog, said Toad, if I wash my dishes right now, then will I have to do that tomorrow? No, said Frog. You will not have to. Toad washed and dried his dishes, and then he put up his cupboard. Frog, said Toad, if I dust my chairs and scrub my windows and water my plants right now, then I will not have to do it tomorrow, will I? No, said Frog, you will not have to do any of it. So Toad dusted his chairs, he scrubbed his windows, and he watered his plants. There, said Toad. Now I feel better. I am not in the dumps anymore. Why? Asked Frog. Because I've done all that work, said Toad. Now I can save tomorrow for something that I really want to do. Well, what is that? Asked Frog. Tomorrow, said Toad, I can just take life easy. Toad went back to bed and he pulled the covers over his head and he fell asleep. And that's the last part until chapter 2. So, as we can notice from the beginning of Frog and Toad are friends, is Toad still the same character from what you remember? Yeah, he's still that lazy part. He likes to sleep, right? And he doesn't want to do anything. He just wants to just put it off until tomorrow. And so, but Frog is there to what? What is Frog doing to him? To help him and to, what do we do to friends? We encourage one another, right? So Frog's there to encourage him. Well, if you do it now, you're not going to have to do any of this tomorrow. Then you can do whatever you want, right? So he is a great friend in that way. Because Frog, he just keeps coming back to encourage Toad, and he's there for him no matter what. Okay, so I have a couple things for us to do today. So first, if you will get out your Days with Frog and Toad packet. This is a new pack. It looks like this. And then the first page, you should have your story elements. Kind of like your story map we did with our other packet. Okay? So I'm going to bring you down and we're going to do this together on our paper. So I've got my characters. Who are the characters in the story Days with Frog and Toad on the first chapter tomorrow? We have Frog and Toad so far, right? Okay. Let's get over to the setting. Remember, setting was where the story took place. Where were they? Yeah, they were in Toad's house. Okay. We don't have to do complete sentences because we're just filling in, giving the information. Now, if we were writing in sentences on a paper, we would have to use this information to turn it into a complete sentence. So, for example, if I were to turn this information into a complete sentence, I would say, the characters in Days with Frog and Toad are Frog and Toad, period. All right. So, what's the problem in this chapter? What's the problem that we're coming across? Right. Toad... Let me say it, then I'll write it. So Toad has a lot of things that are messy in his house, and he keeps putting it off until tomorrow. So I'm going to put Toad has a big mess in his house, comma. That's going to give me a breath. I'm not done with my sentence. Toad has a big mess in his house, and keeps putting everything I'm running the room off until when? Tomorrow. Sorry, friends, I know my handwriting is a little sloppy. I've got one hand and I can't see when I'm writing, so bear with me. All right, the solution. Well, what's the solution? What happened? How did they fix the problem? Right, Frog encouraged him to get it all done today. That way he could do whatever he wanted to tomorrow. So Frog, I'm trying to see where I can write encourage. Encouraged toad to get everything done today so he could do whatever. Whoop, ran out of room. He wanted tomorrow. And what was it that he said he was going to do tomorrow once he got done? Right? He was just going to sleep in the bed and not worry about a thing. I'm going to make life easy. That's what he wanted to do, right? Right. So if you are still writing and you need that paper again, back it up and pause it so you can see it. And that way you can write down and fill out your story elements, your story map. Okay? And that's the only paper we're going to do today in this packet for this chapter. All right? So when you're done with that, you're done with this packet for today. But I do have one more thing that I want to explain to you and show you. So, I think it was a couple weeks ago you got in your packet the frogs can have an R. If you've already done it, then you are good to go. But if you haven't, that's okay too, because we're going to do it together now. All right? So, you should have this. Frogs can have an R. And usually in class, we would do this together on the board. And I would write them out for you. And then you would go back and write them too. Now, since we're not together, we're only together through videos. We have already typed these up for you. So these are the ones that I want you to add to your paper, which is underneath. Okay, you're going to write it here. And then we're going to create a couple sentences on the back. So I'm going to read them to you, and you have the sheet right in front of you also. So, frogs, let's go with the can column first. Frogs can jump. So on your paper, you just have to write jump right now, because we're going to create sentences after. Frogs can swim. Frogs can lay eggs. Frogs can hibernate. Now, I know I'm reading these quickly, so if you're writing them as I'm saying them, just after I say it, pause it, and then play it again, all right? And then push play, that way I continue. All right, so you pause it so you have time to catch up to write them. Now I'm moving to the have column, the row. Frogs have webbed feet. Frogs have lungs. Frogs have smooth skin. And frogs have sticky tongues. That's how they get those flies. All right, now I'm moving to the R column. Frogs are amphibians. We learned that at the beginning. Frogs are many colors. There's many of different color frogs. Frogs are cold-blooded. And frogs are camouflaged. All right, so all I did was read to you what the paper says. And then as I was reading, I hope that you were writing these down on your paper. Okay? Again, pause it as many times as you need to. That way you can keep up with how I'm reading them and reading them out loud to you. Okay, so on the back of this paper, or if you have another piece of writing paper, that'll work too. I want you to create 4 sentences. Any 4 sentences that you want. And I'm going to do one with you right now from the paper that we just used. So, you've got many sentences that we can create. And the way that I was reading them to you, I actually read them in complete sentences. So, that's all you have to do. So, let's do a first sentence together. I'm going to start my first sentence with frogs. I'm going to start with can. So, frogs can jump. Now, that is a sentence, you are correct, but that's something we would do in kindergarten, right? We can add some different things and different words to make this sentence exciting. So, I'm going to bring you down here and I'm going to show you how I would do my first sentence. So, we said frogs can jump. So, I'm going to write that, but I'm also going to add some details. Frogs can jump. Frogs can jump in many places. They can jump on land. They can jump in the water. on lily pads, whatever they do. So see how we turn frogs can jump into different sentences? All right, let's do another one. I'll do 2 of them with you. Actually, I could do them all, so we'll see. You do not have to do the same sentences as me. You may create your own. So now I'm going to take one from the have column. So frogs have webbed feet. Is that a sentence? Yes. But we're first graders, almost second graders. We're going to make a detailed sentence. So I'm going to put frogs have webbed feet. But I'm going to explain it a little more. To what? To help them swim faster in the water, right? All right. Number 3. I'll just go and do 4 sentences with you. And if you want to write more, absolutely go for it, please. I'm going to take one from my next column. Frogs are, what one do we want to do? Amphibians, since it's right here. Okay, let's do amphibians. So, frogs are, I'm going to make sure I spell this correctly, because there's no sense. Amphibians. Okay. To spell it incorrectly when I have all the words in the front. So make sure you're spelling them correctly also. Frogs are amphibians. I'm going to put a comma because we're adding this. What does amphibians mean? Right, they can live in and on land. So in water and on land. So frogs are amphibians, which means they can live in water and on land. So they're in water first and then they're on land. All right. Now, number 4, I do want you to do this one by yourself. So go back to here, or you can create one and use your sentences. Use your words. Frogs can, whatever you choose, or frogs can have, frogs are blank. And then make sure you go into details. Add some verbs. Add some adverbs. Adjectives. Use something to create a deeper, more in-depth sentence. Okay? All right, friends. So I look forward to reading those sentences and to seeing what great work that you're doing, because you guys are rocking it out. I'm very proud of you, and keep working hard, okay? I love you, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.